Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 2 of the One Punch Man special. Another special episode, only about 11 minutes long, a little over that, where we see Genos coming to the fore once again. For anyone who felt robbed by the series proper of Genos' screen time and his throwing down, respectively, I mean, we get a bunch of that so far in these special episodes, just the two that there have been thus far, from him skulking about in the first one, following Saitama. In this one, it's just hilarious because we find just how bad an orator Genos happens to be. He's like, in the bathhouse with Saitama, and they're doing these like vocalizations about what is the best sound of relief when you get into the hot water of a bath. Is it ah? Is it oh? Is it me? These different kind of things. And it's just hilarious. Like, Genos once again is kind of obtuse, even more so than Saitama, with the logic Saitama applies, or just delving into and investigating things that really just amount to nothing as far as what sounds of relief you make in the bath. And you got an old guy sitting there, like just oblivious, completely ignoring what's going on with the sounds these guys are making. But the gist of the entire episode comes when Genos runs smack dab into Don Pacino, this fantastic Goodfellas gangster throwback character. Pacino gotta be, an homage to Al Pacino, from The Godfather and everything like that, for those unfamiliar. But looking nothing like him, looking more like Al Capone or something. But it's hilarious because he thinks, through an inadvertent matchup between Genos and this guy who's just wandering down the boulevard, as Genos was sent on this uber important mission by Saitama to take utmost advantage of some of the sales going on in little convenience stores and shops and things of chicken and vegetables. When he finds this one that's closed down, and this guy happens to be passing by, he's asking him, what's going on? There's supposed to be a sale here today. This guy relates to him, it's Don Pacino. It's the Pacino family. They're, closing and forcibly making all these stores shut down and everything, which kind of loosely calls back to that, guy who created Saitama's suit and everything. He was very much dealing with the idea of being strong-armed and having his shop need to close and all this kind of stuff. So they basically take Genos to like this empty warehouse where they're giving him the third degree. They're 20 questioning him about like what's his involvement with this guy, because apparently they have some bad blood with this guy that was just wandering down the block, and this is where Genos relates literally step by step his entire quest of the day, calling back on that bathhouse, melody interplay that was going on with him and Saitama, to Saitama's imparting him with the one, apparently at that point, all Genos was aware of was there was only one key to his apartment with a cute little giraffe sort of keychain, of Saitama's. And Saitama's like, do not at all, like, you can go home first, do not at all lose that key, because there's so much trouble brewing around this area. If you lose that key, or if somebody sees that key, they might be tempted to steal it, and we're screwed. It's the worst thing ever, end all be all, worst conceivable thing ever if that key is lost. So in the exchange with this guy, Genos dropped the key, and Don Pacino picked it up, and he's holding the key hostage so that Genos has to relate this whole story, and he's just telling it in such a boring, mundane fashion. The entire events. After they were leaving the bathhouse, and Saitama was sneezing, but then he saw there was a sale in a store window, and he had all these other papers for sales, and he forgot one, and now they have to split up and all this kind of stuff. And it was just by happenstance, after Genos dispatches a monster who just happens to be near one of these stores he's got to get to. He doesn't get there in time. He's all ticked off about the clerk in the store, who's like, because it's like a time limit sale, he was 2 seconds late, and that's it. It's default. He can't, take advantage of the sale now, even though the stuff is still on the shelf, and he's there 2 seconds late. So he's super duper upset about that. And then he's going on to like, I raced to the next shop, and I found that one was closed, and that's when I run into this guy that you're asking me about. And all. It was just highfalutin hilarity. But the best part comes in the end Genos is like so deliberate in his mannerisms, so deliberate in his words. He's like, now that I understand you are criminals and you are dishonorable, here I thought you were going to do the right thing and go to the proper authorities and turn in the key, and I would have my 3 weeks to be able to go claim the key and whatever. I understand you're dishonorable. You wouldn't do something that honorable. All this stuff. So his hand turns into this flamethrower, and he just nukes these guys. We never actually see what happens, but I'm assuming they were rendered into small piles of goo and or ash, by the end. And then, of course, he's apparently regaling Saitama with this, and Saitama's just oblivious, cooking whatever he's cooking. And Genos is all proud of himself because he stopped off at a department store, and he got the super expensive meat, which was exactly the opposite of going for these sales to begin with. So it's like, oh my God, I miss this show terribly, the show proper. I can't wait till we get a season 2 or something like that, but I'm glad we have, these small little sort of interstitial shorts and everything, these mini episodes, if you will, to just get us through, for a little while at least, because they are just pitch perfectly hilarious. I love them to death. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've seen episode 2 of the One Punch Man special episodes, if you laughed as much as I did and thought it was as kooky as I did and everything like that, and whether or not love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation, and that'll be pretty much it for me on this. So I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.